Poriscope tutorial series, the core workflow. In this video, we will be focusing on part 3 of the analysis pipeline, analyzing your event metadata. We're going to walk you through how to load this database containing your feeded events, how to plot them, walk you through all the different plot types, the parameters you can choose to plot together, the custom filters you can add to your data, and how to save your subsets. The goal here is to uncover patterns and trends within your event metadata and to identify subsets that are worth clustering or exporting. So let's get started where we left off. I actually went back to this last step from the previous video and I added an extra channel to the database. You can see it right here. DB Writer 1, I wrote 6 out of 6 events of channel 1. I wrote channel 3 as well, but it was already there, which is what we did together. So that did not get overwritten, of course. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that I added channel 1. You could have done that too. Here, you select channel 1, you feed it, and then you write it. So just wanted to mention that. I wanted us to be able to make the most out of the metadata tab, which is where we are going now. So it gets really interesting because, okay, here we have raw data, event analysis, but here we have all analysis tab. So where is the metadata tab? So the first time you are using the metadata tab, you do have to go to the top menu bar, click on analysis, new analysis tab, and say metadata controller. So then that is gonna take you right here. Actually, I will launch Poriscope again just to show you how this works. So, okay, we have raw data, event analysis, pretty straightforward, but then we go to all analysis tabs and we only have raw data and event analysis still. Where is metadata tab, which we need for step 3 of the analysis pipeline? So here's what I was mentioning earlier. You are going to have to go to the top bar menu, analysis, new analysis tab, and then do metadata controller. You do that, it's gonna take you right there, and you only have to do this once. After that, it's here. You'll be able to find it here. Also, any new analysis tabs you define, if you check the documentation, as long as you follow the structures there for analysis tab plugins, they will also appear here, and you could add them retroactively to these to the sidebar menu once you instantiate them for the first time. So let's explore our metadata tab. First thing first, like in the other tabs, we're gonna be looking at the milestones. Here we have DB loader right here, and then the filter. But the filter in metadata behaves very different from the filters in raw data view and in the event analysis view. We'll see how that works later, but actually the filter here is what makes metadata such a powerful and relevant aspect of the analysis pipeline. But first thing first, let's get started. So if we do a recap on the pipeline, we have loaded our raw data, our ionic current trace, we have cleaned it up, we have found events on it, we have saved these events, then we have loaded these events back into Poriscope, applied the algorithm that best suited our needs, feeded events successfully, and saved these events. So now we want to extract insights from these events. And the way to do this is that we need to feed this database to Poriscope. So to do it, we're just going to click Add Database Loader, DB Loader. We're going to select the one that we save. And as you can see, channel 1 is there because remember I added that. And we can see our 2 experiments, tutorial 1, tutorial, and then tutorial 2. A really cool thing about metadata views we no longer have the channel option, we have the scope option, which not only lets you select among channels, but also among experiments. So that is pretty nice. You have the different experiments there. So let's keep going. We are going to check, as always, it's good practice just to check that we have loaded what we wanted. So let's just plot 8 events. Oh, only a single experiment can be used for plotting events. So we are going to go to scope, deselect tutorial 2, and then perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. Beautiful. But what happens if I select tutorial 2 instead and I try to plot that? Only a single channel can also be selected. So then we have to do 3, and then we can do 1 if that's what we would like to see. Okay, perfect. So this is the data we wanted. It's looking amazing. And then we can move to understand the different plot types that you can visualize, so you start extracting your insights. So now let's actually look at plotting our data. So there's a drop-down menu right here that says select plot type. You can choose histogram, heat map, scatter plot, etc. So let's say we choose a histogram, and then you have 3 axes, X, Y, and Z. They will get enabled or disabled depending on which plot type you choose, so you don't have to worry about remembering this. For instance, if we do plot this, let's say we choose duration. We do a scope, it's everything, update plot. And then we see that the full data set, because we haven't applied any filters yet, has been plotted, the histogram of the full data set for all the channels in all of the experiments, because that's what we selected. Now let's say maybe we do a scatter plot. Maybe we want to go back and do, maybe we don't want anything at all. We reset. Now we just select one channel. Then we add another channel. Then we reset again. There's a lot of flexibility with what you can do. And in that flexibility, you can even add bins. For instance, you can enter how many bins you'd like, or you can also check the sizes spots and enter the sizes for bins. So if you enter 1.2, 3.5, that's 2 bins. The first one is that size, the second one is that size. So just something cool to be aware of. You can also choose to enable the log scale, depending on whether that's useful for you or not. And then finally, after you have your whole configuration, you can save it in a JSON file, and then you are able to load your plot configuration, just like we did with the sessions before. So that's for practicality. You can also have many plot configurations saved and then just load them, so you don't have to do all of this manual configuration all of the time if you know you're repeating the same analysis over and over again. So that's plotting. This is with the full data set. So now let's finally get into filters. Filters in the Metadata tab are different from the ones that we've seen before. These are not to clean up noise. These are to create subsets. What do I mean by this? So if you remember before, when we were plotting, it said full data set. We are plotting whichever plot type we choose, whichever attributes we choose in regards to the full data set. But maybe, and not just maybe, but most of the time, we would like to choose a specific, we would like these attributes to fulfill a specific thresholds, for instance. So then we will create a subset. So we just have to click the add button and the next to the filter column, and then we are gonna name our subset. So let's say we say duration A, and then I want to see in regards not to the full data, but just in regards to the data, that events that have a duration bigger than 300. So we're gonna say okay, and then we are gonna update the plot. Oh, but then what do we see? No data matching the subset for any of them. So tutorial 2, channel 1, tutorial 2, channel 3, and tutorial channel 3. Okay, so then we edit our filter. Then we say 100. You can edit it. Duration A, update it to duration A. Perfect. This is because we didn't change the name, but basically every single time you see it like this, it means it got successfully updated. For instance, if I was to do something like these durations, invalid query, because durations is not an attribute, so it won't update it. So that's gives you an indicator on the status of your filter. But in any case, we have updated it. So now we plot it and see, now it did find 6 rows in subset tutorial 2, channel 1, 14 ones in the channel 3, and 15 rows in tutorial channel 3. But this is cumbersome. I don't like it. Let's see how you might want to use it. So let's say scatter plot, or let's keep our histogram, and then we're gonna do duration, and we're gonna see the whole thing. So this is the whole thing, but too much. I just wanna see it for one channel in one experiment. This is what it looks like. This is the count, this is the duration. Now let's see how our filter interacts with the full data. So we are going, this is actually with our filter, sorry. Now let's clean this up. This is a full data set, and then we can overlay our filter data. And interesting, so then we can also say, okay, now I wanna see how many with duration above 150. So duration above 150. Okay, so now we have duration B. You can check the select all, and then I'm going to update the plot. Interesting, and you can keep going like this regarding the specific as whatever it is that it's relevant for you and for your own analysis pipeline. So, and then once you're ready, you can also save this plot configuration. Your filters get included, but actually you can save filters. So then you would save them as a JSON file. So let's say filters, and then you can load them. So for instance, let's say I delete them because I had them all selected. They were all deleted. If I had only one selected, it would have been just that one. I could also delete them individually. So if I do this, and then I do this, duration 100, and then that, and then I'm just gonna copy this in a bunch of filters. So then, right, so then I wanna delete this one. Now I have this one selected, but then I click here, so I deleted that one, but I still have these two, but then I kill it all. Really straightforward, really simple. You can also edit them, whatever you prefer, and then you load them, because these are really simple queries, but you could have some that are way longer. Actually, let's do that. Long filter, and let's say duration. This is not gonna be super long, but duration more than 100, and num sublevels, let's say more than 2. So we do okay, and then a recognized token, because I didn't add a space. This is on me. There's nothing to edit. Then long filter, a space, very important, and now it got successfully added. You see, if you check your login panel, it's really easy to solve the problems and to realize what's not right. Most of the time, if not all of the time, is pretty straightforward. It literally tells you here unrecognized token 100 n, because there's no space. So long filter, then I'll plot that, and that is the area that fills that characteristic. We can see it there. So this is because it's not of the full data, it's a zoom out on the relevant data that we care about. But if we reset that, we do that, and then we apply the filter on top of that. There it is. Full data set, long filter, and what's that long filter is duration more than 100, and more than 2 is the number of sublevels. So yeah, but sometimes it could be like a really long filter that you don't want to create every time, and you want to use with different databases that you're loading. So it's really cool to save them. So if we want to load what we saved before, we are just going to go there, and then filters, open, and then those are the ones that we saved, duration A and duration B. We have them right there. If I delete them there, it doesn't affect the file. Filters, there they are again. And here, they were added. I just added them twice, so that makes sense. And then important thing I want to mention regarding plotting in general is that, as you may have noticed, you have some attributes that are related to the events as a whole, but then you also have some attributes that are related to some columns that are related to the sub-levels. So as you've seen, we have been plotted them. You can combine them when plotting. For instance, here we have duration. Here we can have sub-level blockage. I can do this against this, but you will see that the duration is going to be repeated for each sub-level, if that makes sense. So if you have 3 sub-levels, so this data has duration A and duration B. We did filter by. Actually, let's see what happens if this was to be num sub-levels more than less than 2. So that's duration A. Yep, perfect. And then let's update our plot. Let's reset this, update our plot. There's nothing, because before we were doing duration sub-level blockage, and duration is matching. Sub-level blockage has n levels, which was 3, and duration was matching each sub-level. But now that we're filtering that we want something that has less than 2, aka 1, it doesn't apply, so we're seeing nothing. We enable this 1, 2, 3, because as I mentioned, event duration repeated is going to be repeated n times for an event with n sublevels. So just something to keep in mind. So now we have successfully walked you through the Metadata tab. And as you were able to see, in contrast to the Event Analysis tab or the Raw Data tab, this one allows you to save your action history, including your plot configuration or different data subsets. And while this is still an experimental feature, if you are repeating the analysis over and over again, it can be really useful to optimize your workflow. So in most analysis workflows, the Metadata tab would have been the last step. However, if you'd like to know how to, in the next video, we'll show you how to apply clustering algorithms to reveal underlying structure.